It seems we have a follow-up of sorts to our previous video where a handful of former employees accused Jimmy MrBeast Donaldson of a toxic workplace environment. More specifically, the New York Times wrote an article authored by Taylor Lorenz, which some felt was a hit piece on MrBeast. Lorenz, who previously worked with The Atlantic before moving over to The Times, had previously written about MrBeast's past, more specifically some slurs he used on Twitter. She's also become known, to some at least, as the go-to journalist for influencers and content creators, at least from how I see it. She's one of the few mainstream, for lack of a better word, journalists who covers the majority of the drama, allegations, and so on in the YouTube and influencer world. Granted, there are others, but it seems like she's one of the bigger ones. And it seems Philip DeFranco took exception to her article, which led to a now deleted back and forth on Twitter, I guess a war of words, if you will, between the two. Oh boy. It's a spicy one. I'm gonna tell you guys all about it, but first, you guys know you gotta smash that like button, or you give it a little sizzle, because we like to spice it up. So sizzle that like button, give it a little. Now, popular Twitter account and YouTube drama channel Def Noodles was able to grab screenshots of the tweets before they were officially deleted, but I was able to see all this go down in real time. It was fun keeping up with the Twitter war of words, but interesting to see all the tweets have since been deleted. Could it be due to the two sides handling things behind closed doors? Possibly, or maybe they both felt they had overreacted and agreed to put it behind them. Either way, I'll let you guys decide how to feel about all this. I'm just gonna be the middleman as always. Now, for those of you unaware, Lorenz put out an article about MrBeast's rise to fame on YouTube, his accomplishments, and what he's expecting to do. But she included the good with the bad, bringing up some of his problematic past tweets, which included slurs, as well as a report of 11 former employees who spoke out negatively about their time working for MrBeast. Of the 11, 4 asked to remain anonymous for contractual reasons, and it seems only 2 of them were actually identified. Those 2 included Matt Turner, who formerly edited for MrBeast, and actually made a video speaking about working for him back in 2019, shortly after his departure. At the time, Turner accused Beast of not only treating him poorly, but calling him a handful of names, not crediting him appropriately, among other numerous accusations. MrBeast got on Drama Alert with Keemstar and discussed everything, mentioning how he set Turner up with a new job elsewhere and gave him a $10,000 severance package. It seems some were willing to believe and even sympathize with Turner, while others felt he was trying to get clout or expose MrBeast for some reason. All in all, it seems everyone had moved on, and that was the end of that. Until it was once again brought up in this article, which Philly D wasn't too thrilled about. The other former employee, a man named Nate Anderson, claimed to have worked for MrBeast for a week before quitting, saying the YouTuber was a perfectionist. In the article, he said, I quote, "Nothing ever worked for him. He always wanted it a certain way." In response, Philly D made a video in which he referred to Lorenz's article as a hit piece, and it seems that didn't sit well with Taylor, which led to her calling Philly D out on Twitter. Again, these tweets have since been deleted, but we got some screenshots for you. Sharing Phil's video, she tagged him, tweeting, I quote, "This video is frustrating and wrong. Turner is not the main person speaking out." As the story says, this report was based on interviews with 11 former employees and business associates of MrBeast, which you failed to mention. She followed up with, I quote, "Calling my reporting a hit piece when you ignore the reporting mentioned in the actual story and misrepresent the claims is dishonest and rude. If you have any questions about my stories or reporting process, my DMs are open and I'm always happy to have a conversation." In response, Phil tweeted Taylor's initial tweet and captioned, I quote, "Taylor, just be honest, you made a thinly veiled hit piece on MrBeast so you could still get the outrage clicks while still making it like that wasn't the whole point of your article, so YouTubers would still trust talking with you." Taylor then responded by retweeting Phil's tweet, calling him out with, I quote, "This is a gross misrepresentation from a big creator who purports to support journalism. 11 former workers for MrBeast spoke out for my piece. Phil calling those workers liars says it all. Big creators like Phil don't want accountability in the industry. You have to ask why." She continued in her thread, attaching the original article with, "Read my story and judge for yourself. It's a fair, comprehensive profile of MrBeast that takes the good with the bad. I spoke to nearly 30 people for this piece, including 11 former employees and biz associates of MrBeast, and fact-checked their claims." However, it seems she wasn't finished there. Adding to her thread, Taylor would continue to call Phil out and at one point compare him to the likes of Jake Paul, which would get a response from him once again. Taylor's thread continued with, I quote, "Big creators like Philly D bash the claims of workers in the creator economy to protect fellow powerful big creators because they themselves want to retain power. They don't want accountability. Case in point, a largely positive profile spun as a hit piece. These large creators like Phil DeFranco, Jake Paul, etc. bash the media because they want to operate with impunity. They want to continue to dominate an industry that's changing. It's why they're terrified of reporters coming up like Kat Tenbarge who hold them accountable." She then explained how she feels the article is very balanced, and she went back and forth with MrBeast's team on everything to ensure they had a chance to appropriately respond to the context of what was being written or implied. To wrap up, Taylor finished off explaining, I quote, "Also, just so it's clear, not all big creators are like this. Most aren't. But there is a certain group of very well-off, large, male creators who love to complain about the media, and it's important to think about who they're willing to defend and who they're willing to dismiss." In response to everything she tweeted, Phil just retweeted the one that started with, I quote, "These large creators like Phil DeFranco, Jake Paul, etc." and captioned it, I quote, "LOL, I'm just like Jake Paul now apparently." Jesus fucking Christ, how stupid. Now again, the tweets have since been deleted on both of their profiles, and it's unclear what happened. Maybe she reached out to him, maybe he reached out to her, maybe someone's legal team got involved, or the New York Times asked both sides, for the sake of traditional media and new media coming together, to not publicly butt heads. All in all, Phil nor Taylor have since addressed the argument, or conflict if you'd call it that, and it's unclear if they will. Phil may potentially comment on it in his next video, but odds are he's more focused on his news stories, as is Taylor. As always, guys, let us know your thoughts on this one down below. For now, let's do some comment replies from the video. Top 5 influencers who warned us about MrBeast. Adam Brocast said, to all the MrBeast fans who are getting defensive for him, the host here didn't say anything personal about Beast, repeatedly said he's just reporting or passing along what's going on with him, which is his job and the purpose of this site. Always has been and hopefully always will be. Back down, lay off, and unclench. Sheesh, this too shall pass. Yeah, like I try not to give my personal opinion much. When something really bothers me, I'll talk about it, but usually I try to stay as unbiased as possible. Like you said, this is just my job. I'm the messenger, I'm the middleman. I see stories online. I'm actually given titles to write about. We have a team that gives us the stories or the top 10 lists, and we just look for stuff online. That's what we report on. Like, I don't really pull anything out of my ass. I have sources for everything that I say, so it's just me repeating what people online have already said. Shelby Stroud said, whatever is done or not done, it'll be brought to light eventually, and karma will be delivered to whomever is deserving. Yeah, I mean, like they say, what goes around comes around. If you're a bad person, bad things will eventually happen to you. I believe that, and the opposite goes for good things. That being said, don't do good things expecting good things to happen back to you. You should do good things because they make you feel good. For other people. Pug Life Pug said, people just want other people to suffer. I think lockdown has a lot to do with it. I think people are, you see, like even me, I'm in Toronto. I can't even go to a restaurant, and I have friends in the States that are partying at clubs. So I think, for a lot of people, it's like just they want to bring everyone else down to their level, because a lot of people are very unhappy, myself included. It's tough. This has not been easy on anybody. So I think that unfortunately is, maybe they don't realize it, but they want to bring people down to their level of misery because, if they can't be happy, no one can. I'm not saying that specifically about this video, by the way. I'm saying just in general in life. All right, cool. Been your host, Jared Pepper Bronstein. Make sure you guys stay spicy. We'll see you soon.